Hello, I'm Mark Hall-Pattton. I want to welcome you to the Clark County Museum and hope that you'll come out and see us here. Today I want to show you the Giles Barcus house. It's one of the houses that we have here at the museum, one of the many that have been moved in from various locations. In this case, this little house was originally built in the city of Goldfield. Now, you may not think of Goldfield as someplace that you'd be moving a lot of houses out of, but in this case, this one was built in 1924 after a major fire, oddly enough started because a moonshine still blew up, burned down most of the town. So needed to have a little house, and Edwin Giles, who was a local mining engineer, built this for his family. Later on, his daughter Edith moved it down to Las Vegas, and it sat right at the corner of Giles and Hacienda. So it was down here for a while, and eventually we moved it out here to the museum in the 1970s, restored it and opened it to the public. But one thing I want to point out before we go inside is take a look at the front door. The front door was actually originally built for Scotty's Castle in Death Valley. Mrs. Giles worked for Scotty's Castle, for the Johnsons out there, and when they were using pieces but didn't use some parts of the castle, they would take things like this door and just throw it in a trash pile. Well, in this case, you weren't supposed to bring anything home from that trash pile, but Mrs. Giles didn't care, so she brought the door home and had it installed in her house. That was fine, but it was a little dark, as you might imagine. So she wanted to have some windows put into it. If you look at those windows, they're kind of special. They came out of a Pierce Arrow automobile that was wrecked in Goldfield and was in the dump. Still had the windows intact, and so they took the windows out of the automobile, installed them in the front door, and we have them out here. So let's take a look inside and see what you see here. All right, when you come into the Giles Barcus house, unlike all the other houses here, this is restored as a business, not as a private residence. It was originally a private residence when it was in Goldfield, but when it was moved down to the Vegas Valley, Mr. Giles' daughter turned it into an antique store called the Odd Shop, and it was very well known, and so we have it restored as it was when it was the Odd Shop. And you can see all the antiques are out. This is the sort of place you would have walked through and maybe found a Victrola or an Edison talking machine, a quilt or some nice china. Whatever it was you were looking for that perfect piece for your house, you would have found it here. And we have a lot of that on display. One of the more unusual items we have is a washing machine. You always have to have a washing machine. Well, this was a very early one that you'd put your laundry down inside here with water and soap, and you would crank it on the side. And as it cranked around, it would actually wash your clothes. It worked pretty well. It was also a lot easier than having to use a washboard. So this was actually a step up in the evolution of the washing machine. One of the other things you'll notice here is there's purple glass in the windows. Whenever you came to the Odd Shop, Mrs. Barcus always had purple glass in the window. That was just one of the things that she liked, and you would see that, so we brought that back. It's some way to give you a taste of what you would have seen coming to this store as an antique store in the Vegas Valley in the 1960s. Now, when you see the house, when you think of a house from 1924, you might wonder whether or not they had indoor plumbing. In the case of this particular house, yes, they did. So you can see that the bathroom door is open, you can see into it. But like a lot of houses would have had at that time, when you go outside, you'll also see the outhouse next to the Giles Barcus house, because many times you would have the outdoor privy as well. So we have both shown here. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Giles Barcus house, and you'll come out and visit us. Remember, we are the best bargain in the Vegas Valley. It's only $2 a head to come visit us. We're open 7 days a week, 9 to 4:30. We'll look forward to seeing you.